Hi, it's Aitan here. I am a licensed professional counselor and a life coach with Naya Clinics. Today, I wanted to take a little bit of time to talk to you about 10 tips that will help you overcome procrastination and achieve your goals in this upcoming year. Now, we all know that 2020 has been an interesting year so far, and the new year is right around the corner. You may have started to think about your New Year's resolutions and the goals that you want to accomplish this upcoming year. If you find yourself carrying goals over from last year to this year, it might be a good time for you to take a look at the underlying cause that's driving this procrastination for you. Procrastination is not the source of putting things off. It's a confirmation that things are being put off. When procrastination is present, the underlying cause could be a variety of things, such as low self esteem, perfectionism, fear of failure, ineffective goal setting, an imbalance between work and leisure, and the list goes on and on and on. Procrastination can be a major obstacle to achieving your goals and creating your best life. If you find yourself struggling with getting things done, I'm going to share with you 10 tips that will help you take control of your life so you can achieve your goals and overcome the procrastination that's been holding you back. Tip number one, choose to do. When thinking about the goals that you want to accomplish, it's helpful to think of them as goals that you choose to do. Procrastination often creeps in when you think of the goals you want to accomplish as goals that you have to do. Having to do something can feel forced, and if you feel there are many things that are outside of your control currently, procrastination could be a possible defense mechanism, keeping you from getting things done to feel in control. Tip number two, break down goals into smaller steps. You've probably heard this a million times before. If you have a big goal, it can be very hard to know exactly where to start. And as a result, you may find yourself frequently putting your goals at the bottom of your list. Every time you look at your list, the goal seems so overwhelming. So you find yourself looking for distractions and you keep pushing it to the bottom of your list. Breaking down your goal into smaller, achievable steps can make the goal less overwhelming overall. And as a result, and as you already know, the less overwhelming a goal is, the more you are likely to achieve it. Tip number three, stop waiting until you're in the mood. Sometimes it's easy to push goals aside when you don't feel like you're in the mood to do them. Unfortunately, when it comes to goals, consistency is the key to achieving them. So, the time you find yourself not in the mood, try to remind yourself of how important your goal is to you. This is the time to spend taking action before you talk yourself out of it. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Tip number four, find ways to enjoy what you're doing. The more you enjoy what you're doing, the less it feels like work. And if you enjoy it, you're more likely to do it. Not every goal is going to be fun, but that doesn't mean that you can't find ways to enjoy doing it. If you're starting a goal thinking it's going to be boring, likely you won't want to start it at all. Try thinking this instead. Even though this goal may be boring, I'm going to enjoy doing it by think of ways that you can do and things that you can do that would make it enjoyable for you. Maybe listening to music while doing it, or maybe have a friend join you. Tip number five, celebrate your accomplishments. I can't stress this one enough. When you finish a goal, make time to reward yourself after finishing it. Celebrating your accomplishments is one way to practice positive reinforcement. Positive reinforcement is very, very effective because it enforces positive feelings, which provides encouragement to keep going. And who doesn't want to feel good and knock goals off their list? Tip number 6, beware of perfectionism. If you're hardworking and like to deliver the best results, you could fall into the perfectionism trap. The thing about the perfectionism trap that you must realize is no matter how much time and effort you put into something, it can always be better in someone else's eyes. To break out of the perfectionism trap, focus on what's important to you and set deadlines for you. For example, if you're writing an article, think of which part of the article is the most important to you. Is it the content of the article? Is it the design of the article? Give yourself more time to focus on the parts that are important to you and set deadlines. And once you meet your deadlines, don't look back. Keep looking forward and moving on. Tip number 7, get an accountability buddy. Yes, an accountability buddy. Why? Because you're more likely to get things done if someone is holding you accountable to it. Remember those days when you had a gym buddy, and sometimes that is the only reason you showed up at the gym on those days? It's the same idea. If you both have the same goal, you can challenge each other. Tip number 8, schedule some focus time. Schedule an hour or two a day or a day a week to block everything out. Get rid of all distractions around you. Turn your phones off, turn the TV off, lock yourself in a room, and solely focus on a goal that's most important to you. Don't wait until you have time available. Make time available with intention. Tip number 9, reevaluate how you're spending your time. It's very possible that you could be spending your time in a lot of different things that unfortunately end up wasting your time. So, to reevaluate how you're spending your time, track how you spend your time for a few days to a week. Write down everything that you do and how much time you spend doing it. You may discover that you spend a lot of time overthinking tasks or replying to texts. Imagine how your life would improve if you used at least part of that time productively. Then think of one thing that you could do differently the next day to spend your time more productively for you. Tip number 10, plan time for self care and play. In order to give your best, you have to take care of yourself so that you can give your best. Set aside some time in your schedule to practice self care, partake in leisure activities, hang out with family or friends, or do nothing at all and just relax. Remember this, in order for you to give your best, you must be at your best. And to be at your best, you have to take care of you in order to be at your best. So, there you have it. These are the 10 tips I have for you today. To recap, tip number 1, choose to do. Tip number 2, break down your goals into smaller steps. Tip number 3, stop waiting until you're in the mood. Tip number 4, find ways to enjoy what you're doing. Tip number 5, celebrate your accomplishments. Tip number 6, beware of perfectionism. Tip number 7, get an accountability buddy. Tip number 8, schedule focus time. Tip number 9, reevaluate how you spend your time. And tip number 10, plan time for self care and play. For the spirit of the new year, I challenge you to pick at least one of these tips and practice it for at least 2 weeks. See for yourself how it can help you gain back control of your life, achieve your goals, and overcome procrastination once and for all. Thank you so much for watching today and Happy New Year.